But I do want to check in with Con Stavros now, Associate Dean of Marketing at RMIT University and also a sports marketing expert. Good morning to you, Con.
Good morning, Tony.
Yeah, sorry to keep you waiting, mate. But what impact will this have on Melbourne's image on the global stage?
I think it's disastrous, Tony. I really find it very short-sighted, this whole planning. Just so the listeners understand, the Australian Grand Prix, the Formula One, was scheduled for the 21st of November. So we're not talking just a couple of weeks away where places like Japan will put on the Olympic Games. This is the 21st of November. The Formula One organisation have a really great protocol for being able to run these events. And for those Formula One fans, if you watch the Austrian Grand Prix on the weekend, there was over 100,000 people there. It is essentially a moving circus. It moves from city to city. The drivers are vaccinated, masked up, the whole process. They know how to make this work. To me, it sends a really poor signal that we're saying, come late November, we can't hold an important event such as this. And what does it mean then for the Australian Open, given that tennis players normally arrive in December and play through that season into January for the Australian Open, given that there's no way that they're going to do 2 weeks of quarantine again, Tony. That sports moved on and the world has moved on, and unfortunately Australia seems to be going backwards. And you can see the frustration, you can hear the frustration in my voice that we're not willing to take positive steps forward. We seem to be just cowering in this Fortress Australia at the moment, which is going to be detrimental. And someone needs to ask Martin Pakula this afternoon, are we still going to pay the licence fee for holding the Formula One race? It doesn't come for free. There's a licence fee that I don't know the exact amount, but it'll be in the tens of millions of dollars. And I suspect just because we cancel, we don't just rip up the contract and say we're not spending anything. I suspect Formula One will still put their hand out and ask for what they rightly deserve.
But when you say Australia's going backwards and Australia's becoming this fortress, are you being kind there? Because it would seem Victoria is the one going backward and Victoria is the one being the fortress.
Yeah, I think it's on a national level, though, Tony. So you're right. Victoria seems to be leading some of this, given, importantly from our perspective, Melbourne and Victoria holds itself up as the sporting capital of the world and has to be able to put on these kinds of events and make it happen. And that's what's happening around the world. So, European Football Championships going on at the moment. Wembley's going to have 60,000 people, semi-finals the next couple of days and the finals. The Formula One circuit's going on. The golf tournaments are going on around the world. The tennis tournaments are going on around the world. Victoria needs to capitalise on its multi-decade investment in these sports. And, Melbourne needs Formula One probably more than Formula One needs Melbourne. And, we are at jeopardy now with 2 years in a row of not having that event. I think it's very understandable that we didn't run it last year right at the very start of the pandemic. But I would have thought by now that we would have a way and a protocol to be able to move forward. And I repeat, 21st of November was when that race was going to be held. If we can't be confident about where we're going to be then, where are we going to be confident?
But is it less damaging doing it this way, less damaging to our image, if you like, globally, doing it this way, this many months out, as opposed to doing it a few minutes out from when it was supposed to start last year, and we had people queued up outside the gates?
Yeah, but I think last year, Tony, that was the issue. It was all new. Everything was new. The erections were new. 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and it seems hilarious to look back on that kind of language now. But it was new. People were reactionary. But we're 18 months down the track now, and you can do some planning. And I think the Formula One people have shown how this works. As I said, they've gone through a whole series of events on different continents and different places. The next Grand Prix is at Silverstone in the UK. It goes on to Hungary and Belgium and the Netherlands, from there back to Italy. They know how to make this process kind of work. So I'm left scratching my head why we can't make it work as well here, given clearly it is a circus, and I mean that in the kindest terms, that the drivers all come on planes, chartered planes. The cars are delivered on old.
So it's a mobile bubble. It's a mobile bubble, essentially.
It's a mobile bubble. It's exactly the nicest way of putting it, Tony. They're used to doing this. They pack it up and they set it up, and they pack it up and they set it up, and they do it right throughout the season. And Formula One's been clever this year because they had a very big, they normally have 17, 18 races. They've stacked the races this year in anticipation of some countries pulling out and not being able to do it. But the vast majority have gone on with it. So, Canada's cancelled. That would have been held in June. Singapore's cancelled. That was going to be held early October. But I would have thought by November we should have been signalling to the world that Australia and Victoria in particular is back open for business. We're open to the world, and our markers.
So we're not the only city to have cancelled this calendar. No. So China postponed back in April. I suspect they won't go back on the calendar. Montreal was due to be in June. Canada's taking a pretty hardline approach as well, so they've cancelled. And Singapore cancelled about a month or so ago. Okay. Well, we're not out as one. I suppose that's one consolation. So just yes or no, are you a Formula One fan?
Look, I'm a fan of all sport. I don't go to it every year, Tony, but I'm a fan of Melbourne's strategy of having major events, and not just in sport, but in culture, just right throughout the year. I think that's really important to our city.
Good on you, Con. Good to talk to you as always. Con Stavros joining us there